Welcome to another episode of Something More Than Gibberish. This is episode 55, and today I have the pleasure of bringing to you from Nigeria, Adaeze Nwankwo. I have been looking forward to meeting this lady or featuring her on the show. She tirelessly supports the show every week. She's in the room, and given the timing of the show, it is some crazy hour in Nigeria, something like 1 a.m. And she's there every 2 weeks supporting the featured guests. And if she does miss a show by any chance, she watches the replays and ever supportive of the show. She is an amazing lady, and I am just dying to get to know all the projects she's involved in, from being a cultural curator to editing for public works. She's authored her own book. She's directed programs for young adolescents, where she helps them to develop their art of writing and storytelling. She's started a business in healthy spice brands that endorse wellness. Adaeze is in the room, so instead of me carrying on, I am going to bring her up. Adaeze, if you would like to just put in a request, to come into the room by selecting that plus sign at the bottom middle of the screen, the camera icon. I can bring you up, and we can get this show on the road. Yeah, there's so much to this lady that I don't think we'll be able to cover everything about her in one show, but let's go. Waiting for Adaeze to come up on screen. Hello.
Hello. So
Welcome.
good to finally be here.
It is an absolute pleasure and an honor, my friend. It really, really is. I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show, for agreeing to feature on the show. There is a lot about you that I want to know. Reading your bio, my goodness. And firstly, thank you for the timing as well. I know it's an ungodly hour, like 1 a.m. for you, right?
Yes, it is. But hey, it's a Saturday, so I can catch some break before before evening and yeah, so it's fine. It's okay.
But but also, I'm so respectful and appreciative of every 2 weeks you support this show by being in the room, and if you do miss that, by on the odd occasion when you miss it, you always watch the replay, um, which is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. for you, and my gratitude is cannot be expressed in words, my friend. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you. I love your room. I love your room. I love the fact that you bring a whole lot of different poets and artists around. So yeah, I love to follow what's happening around. So yeah, I really enjoy just getting to see a different perspective about how people deal with life using their artwork here.
The Yeah, thank you, and I try to hand select guess. And when I read your bio, like you've done, there's so much to you that I don't think we can cover it all in one show. We might have to do a part two of this. Um, so there's so much I want to know. Your background in the when you were doing the cultural curating to express to explore womanhood and ancestral legacy. I mean, that's on its own is a topic that one can feature on, right? And then you were doing editing work for different collections of poetry. You authored your own book. And I really want to know
Mhm.
this work that you did as a program director in Teen Talk with the Abuja Literary Society, nurturing the young adolescents in their poetry and their storytelling. But I myself, I think they are the future generation, right? And I think we owe it to them to develop those young minds to make the world a better place,
Absolutely.
right? And
True.
and excuse me. And then on top of that, you went and developed. You started another business as well, where you're marketing hand-selected blends of spices to promote wellness from your heritage. I mean, that I want to know so much about that. And is it available? Oh my goodness, we really are going to be struggling to fit these things. We might need to do a second show just on you. There is so much to you, Adaeze. I am deeply, deeply touched. I love people who I myself am selfless in my attitude to life, and when I meet like-minded souls, I'm touched because sometimes I question myself: Am I a fool for not focusing on me and worrying about everybody else? And then I meet a soul like you and I'm embarrassed at how little I feel like I do in comparison to what you do. You know,
Oh, you do a lot, I promise you. Your platform is bigger than you think. Yeah.
thank you. You know, and then you're preparing for an international book tour as well. You got to tell me, is Australia a part of that tour?
Not yet, but of course I should probably in the future. Not yet. At the moment, France and UK is the major place I'm headed for, then Ghana. At the moment, yes, not Australia. Well, but yeah, in future, just maybe when my second collection comes out, yeah, then I could look towards Australia.
Well, if there's anything I can do from here to promote your work in this land down under, my friend, all you got to do is reach out, right? My support for you goes beyond this show, so all you got to do is reach out, and in any way that I can support you, it's there. And lastly, then you're also developing multimedia projects that amplify African women's voices. I want to honestly, I could do a show on each of these thing. Your
I
experience.
I have a friend that likes to tell me, Ada, you do so much. And I'm like, but we are really not doing enough. We are not doing enough. I really wish we get invested in what's happening around us, that we pay attention to people who want you to listen to them. People want you to hear them. And sometimes I don't blame us because we are so engrossed with our own world, our own problems, that it's sometimes really difficult to pause a bit and pay attention to others. So when my friends tell me, "Oh, Ada, you're doing so much," and I'm like, because maybe I used to be that person at the other end who wished somebody listened to me, paid attention to me. And for the few people who actually paid attention to me, it's made a difference. So yes, that's why I do so much. I try to like show people that they are worth listening to. Yeah.
I love that about you. I really do. And I know somebody else on this platform that I really respect and absolutely put on a pedestal, who also thinks the world of you, and that's Ragged the poet. He has got
I love him.
yeah, yeah. He
I
will
love him so
wouldn't
much.
surprise me if he joins the show or watches later because he's got a lot of respect. It is. How could anyone not respect what you do, right? It really is. Where do you want to start? Tell me. Let's start with some of the cultural curating work you did, where you explored the womanhood and ancestral legacy of the African nations.
Oh yes. So for us as Nigerians, especially from my culture as an Igbo person, um, going to school, we talk about our women influence like it never existed because of colonialism. So a lot of us, our idea of what we think women should do or be is based on what colonialism taught us. It took me actually reading book, listening, as in I took time going to the village to ask my grandparents questions, the people in the village. We have what we call, if you're the eldest person in the village, you're literally the leader. Leadership is by being the eldest in my mother's side of the village. So it's you see an elderly woman, she's the eldest, and people get to listen to her. People don't judge her by her gender. And then getting to actually see the other side of who we are, how much influence first daughters. I'm a first daughter, by the way. When I was younger and I do certain things, and people tell me, oh, first daughters don't behave like this. I didn't understand it. I really couldn't. But as I grew older, I got to really realize how powerful the first daughters are in my culture. They are so influential that if you have a problem in your marriage, you could go report. You could go report as your husband to the first daughters within your kindred, and they will treat the issue. And even though people like to tell us that Africans are polygamous, no, we really ain't polygamous. The need for being polygamous had to do with us being an agrarian society. And you need the permission of the eldest wife for you to be able to decide if you want to take on an extra wife or not. And if she's saying no, it's not happening, then it's not happening. And another interesting thing is if you say, for instance, for fertility issue, you can't have a child as a wife, I could marry a younger person who is fertile for you, and the child will be mine and not the other person's child. And the other woman is free to move on with her life if she chooses not to be in my family. And if as a single person you don't have a male child in your home. It's very interesting now that you hear younger people say, "Oh, if you don't have a male child, you then you don't have a child." And I get to tell them that, do you know that it wasn't a thing until Christianity and colonialism came into Africa? If you don't have a male child, if for instance my father never had a male child in my home and he passes on, I am allowed to stay back as his daughter in his home and have kids on his behalf that continue the family lineage. So you're not going to say, oh, because I'm a woman, it means my father's lineage suddenly disappears. No, it doesn't. It doesn't just stop being. So I joined a group of women, Igbo women, to actually start teaching and curating our stories, our histories, and telling people. And I think one of the sad things about our I wouldn't say it's sad because who is to decide which is a more powerful medium of telling a story? Because we are an oral based storytellers. Somebody told me one time when I just started doing spoken. As a matter of fact, my cousin said, "Ada, you would do well as a spoken word poet." Then I think I was 21. You would do well as a spoken word poet. That we don't do spoken word as Igbo people. And he said, I will take you to a society where you go listen to people do spoken word poetry rather. And I listened to them and I told him, no, so we do this. Like, this is actually, we do what we call Aho Tutu. We chant the names of our ancestries. We tell you what to have from. You tell people will tell you who your great grandfather was, what they did. And they don't just say that you're a farmer, they tell you how he became a great farmer, what he did in a special way. Like, this was something we were doing. Simply because we didn't write it doesn't mean it never existed. So retelling our story, curating them, and letting people actually see that it's something that is innate in us actually started shifting mindsets of a lot of my focus is young people. I feel like my generation probably have lost it. Maybe a few of us are interested, but I'm really, really much more driven to help younger people find their feet in the society. So we have young girls come to me and tell me, so you mean I'll go to school and after going to school, this is all it is. It's whatever my spouse decides that will be. And I'm like, no, that you're in my society, the women are actually way more powerful. As in, they were so powerful that I don't like the generic word that was taught us in secondary school. They said it was about women riots. When laws and fines were imposed on the market people and the town sellers, and the women were saying, no, you can't impose these laws and fines on because it is the women that majorly control the markets. So if you impose fines and laws and tax heavy as much as this, it becomes really, really hard for those women to keep sustaining themselves. Yeah. So they rebelled, and we used the word about women riots. It wasn't a riot. It wasn't a riot. It was simply women saying, no, we do not agree to your terms and conditions. It was women standing up to say, no, you're in our space. You can't tell us what we will give to you. If the men are okay with you taking away their own means of livelihood, the women wouldn't. And the whole idea was an average Igbo woman takes care of her hut. Because if the man, for instance, has, say, two, three, four wives, it means that he spread thin in his resources. So the woman has to do extra to make sure she's able to take care of her own hut, right? So if you're not imposing fines on them, without consideration for their need, it becomes really hard for them to be able to meet their needs. And not just that, an average Igbo woman, when she is married, she's still sort of responsible for her home where she was birthed. So you're actually spreading her thin when you're demanding extra from them. So they rebelled. As a matter of fact, they seized certain some of the Warrants chiefs that were forced on us. They cordoned off their palaces and all that. And I don't like that we use the word rioting. I don't think that's a pleasant word to use in describing what our women did. I feel it was them understanding what their rights were and then, insisting on standing on what is right. You don't come from outside and dictate for them what should be or not be. So yeah, I constantly make emphasis on these stories to let young people know that these things are real. And these things are not such an ancient history that it's so far off that you wouldn't know they exist. They are literal um, papers and gazettes that you can find in the library to show you the women that were killed during this uprising, to show you the daughters and mothers and sisters and grandparents that were murdered during this uprising. They literally exist. It's not so far off that you won't be able to find evidence of this events. So yeah, the community of us actually decided that we it's not enough for us to complain. We need to actually tell the stories. We need to actually share it to younger people. We need to let them know. So we actually go from community to community when we do our cultural festival. Before now, cultural festivals, we always have to go to the village. For those of us that were raised in the city, it means we might not attend, say, every 5 years or every 10 years. But now we have we allow the people in the city to hold the cultural festival. And if you still want to travel down to the village to participate in the village own, fantastic. So that it is important that we are exposed to this knowledge, we are exposed to these happenings, we are exposed to these stories and letting people shift their thinking. Of course, there is a change, there is a shifting, it's actually happening. I get really excited when I see young people actually, drive the debate themselves. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is the expectation and it's working. Yeah.
That is phenomenal. And it is so beautiful that you do preserve or take an active interest in history of your people and preserve that and promote it. That is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Like I myself, I got to apologize. I'm quite ignorant of a lot of the historical um, growth through in like Nigeria. I with Nigeria, I've got vinyls albums here of King Sunny Ade, and I love his music.
Oh, that's quite interesting. He's an icon.
I love his music. You know, I'm
Whoa.
an audiophile, and I love his music. And it's interesting what you covered with the how much power women held in Africa early days. So how long ago was Nigeria colonized?
We were colonized in year 1901, officially amalgamated into Nigeria. Nigeria Nigeria as a country that now didn't exist before the being colonized. We were just a sections of different tribes, different regions, different people who coexisted happily. We
Yeah,
were fine.
yeah.
It did intertrades with the Portuguese. We did intertrade with the Arabians. We were fine until the British people decided that they wanted to make us a country. And I still wonder, even though people we like to tell ourselves that oh, we are better together. I don't know. Maybe we are still trying to find a formula for us as a nation because the true nature of who we are, it's so different, it's so diverse. It's mind blowing when you go to certain parts of the country, how they reason, their way of life, their culture, their mode of interaction. It's so different. So yeah, in 1901 we were we were colonized, and in 1906 it was made formal, like we were formed into a country, like from east, west, north, south, so it became what is called Nigeria today. And the interesting thing about that for me is I don't know if maybe we still need to figure out a system that helps us stay as a cohesive unit. The reason being that there's so much tussle for power, and I hate to dwell on it because that in itself messes up with the culture of our individual units. Because while we are supposed to celebrate each other's culture and uplift one another, there is this power, this tussling, this rancor to show whose culture is more inferior and superior to the others. And by so doing, we relegate the essence of what makes us individual and unique. We lose the beauty of why we all can't just be the same. It's not possible for everybody to be the same. There was a time, I think, in the early 90s or late 80s, we were trying to create a common denomination of language to speak, and we just couldn't figure it out. But interestingly, being who we are, we have a we were I think where we got it wrong was trying to create a language, a unique language from each of our indigenous languages. But what we were able to do is just corrupt the English language into what we call pidgin. The Nigerian pidgin English is is our unifying language.
Mm.
So it's easier for you to connect with people from different culture. Just speak pidgin. If you're rich, if you're poor, if you're educated or non-educated, just speak pidgin. Then it becomes super easy for people to relate with you and connect with you. I wish they would make pidgin our official language. Yes, I think simply because it wasn't deliberate when it was created, simply because it just, it just metamorphosed on its own without people forcing it to become. Yeah.
I really align with that concept because even in my own writing, I try to keep the words I select very simple so it's accessible but from anybody and everybody, whether you're educated in the literary arts or whether you're not or got no education, that my
Yeah.
word accessible to everybody. So I really align with that concept of keeping it
It
simple. So
makes it it makes perfect sense. And what's interesting is there are certain spaces within the UK where they now study pidgin. And we're not taking it serious here. I wish we can give it more attention. You see, even the British dictionary that gets updated often, most of the words, the colloquialism that they actually add, they are our pidgin language. I wish we can actually give it more flesh and give it more attention.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you referred to the power of women. I would really love to know, like, of my own, obviously not through the show, but look at some of these other power figures. The only one lady I'm familiar with is through, in South Africa, through apartheid, a lady by the name of Marian Makiba, who was in exile for 27 years. And she was, just forced exile, and she never gave up the power of her voice, very much like Nelson Mandela, but that the power of that lady's voice. And I've actually seen her on stage perform when she was released from exile. That she did a tour here with Paul Simon. Actually brought her out here, um, um,
Wow.
and I actually went. And my goodness, the this whole arena was just deathly silent when she sang and shared her voice. I was
She
blessed to
has a
have,
powerful voice.
yes. So really, and as you said, it's funny. So in the Western worlds over the last 2, 3 decades, the feminine gender has been establishing their voice, but it's like the pendulum's gone from one side totally to the other, and hopefully it'll come back to the middle where whether you're male or female, whether you're a Marianne Makiba or whether you're a Nelson Mandela, that together you forge that voice to find that world's peace and harmony and make this world a better place, I guess. But that pendulum, I think, needs to swing back now into the middle, and it might oscillate a few times, but hopefully, certainly not going to happen in my day, I don't think. But
That's the beauty of life. I think one of the powerful voices I follow, she is a voice of this generation. It's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She's a writer. One of the reasons I love her work is that she doesn't make you agonize. I think it's just her last work that is creating certain controversy. Just because he mentioned now that yes, there's a need for the pendulum to swing back to the middle, and I think I sort of understand what is causing the ruckus, but I wouldn't go into that. There is certain politics. gender politics that happens within the West that we try to force on others within certain spaces that I personally feel it's it's unjust to not consider people's nuances and culture and heritage before demanding that it must be this way. So I really wouldn't want to dwell on it. I see the drama on Twitter. As a matter of fact, I used to be so loud and vocal about it on Twitter, and I got into a mess. I was reported, and I'm like, nah, I don't think I want to. I want to deal with this. The vitriol that comes with the drama. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, she's one who helps you see reasoning. She will tell you she's a feminist, but the beauty of her feminism is that she lets you pay attention to the nuances. She lets you pay attention to your cultural expectation, because what is obtainable in your end might not be obtainable at somebody else's end. We should be able to find balance. And I think that's where a lot of the noises need to be toned off. We want to say it must be this way. Who says it has to be this way? I have a friend who on her DP she has number 6. So if you're facing number 6 this way, you think he's number 6, and the other person will say he's number 9, and we will argue back and forth and say, no, that's 9, no, that's 6. But you're both correct because you're seeing the world through your perspective. So you're both correct. And I feel we are making so much noise. And because there is so much noise, it's hard for us to actually give attention to what really matters around this whole matter. Because there are exceptions, there are rules, and there are reasons why we cannot tentatively, force certain rules on everybody. You can't say we all have to do it this way. If you're not so, and let you be damned. Let's crucify this person, and let's give room for diverse opinion. I don't always have to agree with your opinion. I don't have to say yes to what you're proposing, but I should be able to listen to you. I should be able to ponder on what you're saying and be able to tell myself, this makes sense. This we can apply in this situation. This not in this situation. This works for these people in this setting. This does not work for these people in their own setting. Yeah. So I'm glad it's there's a shifting happening. It's actually the tide is returning back to us actually listening. But I just feel there's so much damage already. There's so much fear. A lot of people can't speak up. A lot of people can't tell you what they think or feel about some of the ideologies we force and insist on. I just wish there is a way we can actually be open to having these conversations without saying, oh, if you do not agree with me, it means you're the spawn of the devil. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This multiple truths coexisting, I could talk on that.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, imagine if you were in one room. If I look into your room and I say, no, there's Adaeze there, there's a picture on one side, a portrait, and there's a bookshelf above her head. And you say, no, there isn't, because if you're looking into my room facing me, you're saying, no, there's a grey wall with a white cupboard door. So those multiple truths coexisting, it's being a
Absolutely.
perspective, right? Being able to see each other's view.
So true. So,
That
so true.
that is something we could discuss. Honestly, Adaeze, we're going to have to do a second show because we've spent 35 minutes just discussing the first one aspect of you. But uh, when I, just in this short time listening to you, I see a unbiased person who can lead people, who is very strong. I see a strong woman in front of me who's, but being able, power is an amazing asset. You've got to know how to wield power. it can be very supportive if wielded correctly, or it can be very destructive if wielded negatively, like your Idi Amins, like your Hitlers, so forth, right? If wielded negatively, it can be very destructive. But then you got your Gandhis, your Mother Teresa's, your Nelson Mandelas, who wielded it appropriately and freed people and supported people, supported growth.
True.
Right? So power is an amazing thing. And right now, I'm speaking to a lady that I see who's a very strong person, but not not giddy by that her voice, that can maintain unbiased and wield that power, wield that authority that you attain in a positive sense. I read your posts each week, and what you say is, I've lived by those, and that's why I always resonate with your narratives in your, because they are the basic things that will help this world to become a better place. Not the science, not the technology, not the convenience, etc., etc. It's those basic human concepts that you talk on, you write on or narrate on in your posts. They're very powerful messages.
Thank you. I really can't take credit for that. I think I owe that to my mom. I used to just complain to her that there is so much noise out there. I don't like what people talk about. Uh, And I used to just tell her that, oh, people don't have healthy discussions. The only thing they talk about is just crazy. It's not intelligent enough. It's not this, it's not that. I'm always just telling her this. And she would tell me, have you shared your own version of what you think people should talk about? Which actually got me to pause and think truly, if you're not sharing, it's what is out there people are going to talk about. If you're not telling people what you think should be discussed, obviously they're going to concentrate on that which is available to them at their own space. Of course, I started doing that. I'm a Catholic. When I was in the Catholic Youth Organization of Nigeria, I used to organize a monthly series where I would just talk about anything: career, family, home, friendship, relationships, sex. Oh, I used to talk about sex. I was 16 years old and I was discussing sex with people. Like, I literally go for campaigns from places to places to tell young girls about sex when I wasn't even active myself. And because I felt like someone has to take charge, truly. If you're complaining that what is out there is it's not healthy, then truly what are you putting out for people to be able to say this is the alternative and is a healthier alternative for them to listen to? So yeah, and of course with social media, you're shifting the platform from your everyday conversation with people on the streets and in the church and in your community to reaching a larger space of people who people really are yearning for more, but they don't know who to go to. So they go to the noise that is available. They go to all the what you think is the wrong information. They go to those information simply because that's what's available. So yeah,
Well,
that's the story
ab-
behind that.
absolute credit to your mum for instigating that, because I read your posts, and you narrate stuff that I've lived my life based, that I've founded my life on as a kid, but I never even think or make the time to narrate that, because I think, well, this is common sense to everybody, but it not always is, right? And the fact that you take that time to narrate that and post that, it's very inspirational.
Thank
And I
you.
feel inadequate that I never made the time. I took it for granted that I was blessed to think that way, to be founded like that, and think that I don't need to share that word. You look at most social media posts, it's all about somebody did somebody wrong, my pain, my hurt, da 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 da. But yours is always that giving, giving, giving. As I said, I feel like I do. I've lived my life as a giver, that empath, but I feel like I do such a minute amount when I look at what you do. And absolute credit to you, Adaeze. You are just an amazing soul that this world needs, right? And I'm sure you do so much within your circles. But before we do run out, I do want to, as I said, we are going to have to do a second show if you're up for it, because you that I want to showcase to the world that what one person can do if you took that, made that effort, made that time. Uh,
True.
and a gem like you needs to be showcased beyond the Nigeria, beyond the Ghana, beyond your image. I want people in every corner of the world to get to know what you do and what one person, like one drop of water in a pond, can do. That ripple effect. And you are living proof of that, Adaeze. You really are.
Thank you.
But I'd really want, we'll come back to some of the other topics, but let's get into your your first publication, Replica of My Mother's Relic, your book. Let's share that.
Yeah.
Let's get some poetry out of there. We've been going for 40 minutes. We haven't even touched poetry. You're an amazing lady. You really are. Um, but I do not want to rush anything. I'm happy to do a second episode, do a third episode if I need to showcase Adaeze Nwankwo in her entirety.
Thank you. Okay. Um, Let me see. I'll read this.
First off, let's show the book and where people can get this, and then let's share some of the work from her.
Oh, okay. Replica of My Mother's Relic. It's a book born out of I think I needed to record. I needed to record what I'm sharing. I needed to record what I tell people. When I tell people, oh, you need to write, you need to publish, and they give me their book to actually edit, and I happily do it. And I don't do the same. It felt really bad. Like people literally ask me all of the time, how is it that you push every other person to record their work, have it published, and you don't do the same? And I'm like, then I was working in the bank. I'll be like, there's no time. It was just silly excuse. It was just my own way of saying, oh, we don't need to do too much. Then I think it was my cousin in the UK that actually called me one day and asked me to pause and think. Like, Adapo, seriously, if we complain that our forefathers weren't, recording, doing written records of our history and events, do you realize you're doing the same thing? And it hits me that it's true. Like I'm literally living the same life we complained about them. So I had to take my time to, in short, I promised him, he gave me a time limit. I promised him I was going to, gather my work and publish them. And of course, it's also a tribute to my mom. She's late now. I wanted to be able to put her legacy in a story. She actually influenced me. You know what's interesting? When she was alive, we were always cat and dog. We quarrel a lot. Strong-willed. She's strong-willed. She insists that things have to be done this way, and now it doesn't always have to be this way. Like we literally are always arms in arms. Like no, it's not this way. It's this way, and and after her passing. A lot of things I do, I literally realize that I do things like my mom will do them. My mom's siblings or friends will tell me, oh, this is exactly what Chiza would do. This is exactly what Chiza would do. And it's so true. Like, this is exactly what my mom would do. So, yeah, this is like a tribute to my mom. And a recording of loss, pain, triumph, most especially pain. It's a recording of experience that are not so sweet, but of course there were happy moments too. Yeah, this is it's also on Amazon for those who would like to get the book. I think I can share the link maybe later on
Yeah.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Waterstone for those abroad. Then for those in Nigeria, it's on Robin Heights. Robin Heights, I think, is one of the best things that has happened to Nigerians because for you to, order a book from abroad and have it shipped and delivered to Nigeria was a bit expensive for a lot of Nigerians. So having it in Robin Heights has just been so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am looking forward to hearing some of the work here, and it is definitely on my shopping list through Amazon most certainly. Um, it was I was quite amused when you were discussing about how your mum was strong-willed and you. I can just see you are your mother's daughter. I could two strong-willed people. Yeah. Um, but you're right about the pain, right? The pain is the fire that forges the steel, right? I see
Yeah.
that is life, right?
But I also had to last year learn how to write about joy because I think because most of my best work I used to have a poetry blog in the past. Most of my best poetry blog that people comment on a lot are stories from a pain, from serious, real pain. But I had to teach myself how to write about my joy too, because my joy is an experience of the fact that you've gone through your hell, you've gone through your fire, and here you are, thriving, blossoming, you're living your best life now. And it's important to record it for people to see too, that it's possible for them to hope and aspire to get out of their pain, get out of whatever depression that is setting in for them. So I had to be deliberate in writing about my joy too. Yeah.
So, well, and that's very important because getting back to that forging that steel through the fire, if it was constant in that fire, you'll end up in a molten puddle of metal, right? But quenching in the water, that's what hardens it. That's the joy. So we walk through that fire, then that joy is what ingrains and promotes that growth of that passage through the fire.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
I'm going
Yes.
to shut up and I'm going to let you share some of the poetry from this book. I'm dying to hear some of the work from you.
Okay. I'll read from chapter I want to read from chapter 47. Oh, page 47 rather. Um, this this is from this is titled "Along for Home." This piece is born out of I think I'll just shut up and maybe talk about it when I'm done reading it. Yeah, this is titled "Along for Home." I long for laughter and good vibe, homing with my power and sisters, happying on the memories our childhood makes. I yearn for my past evocation of our first work, how we leapt into us as we took our first step, the thrill and joy historian conjure, making my nights a blissful one. I crave the colors and smells of my past backyard, earth, stone, and musky scents from damp soil dewed from dawn, the freshness of nurturing sounds filling my mornings. I pant for my dada's voice, the deep rumbling of hellos and cuddles, Hugs of warm embrace, safety in my 13th cycle from the midnight boogie. I hunger for home, for love and family, where babbles of names sounded like mine, singing in look, beat, and reading breath of the love my dad makes. I long for home.
Beautiful, very heartwarming, and it's something that each and every one of us, even the most hardened of people, can relate to, because at some point in our life we have that yearning for that childhood warmth that we had, that we knew, that was our very foundations.
Yeah. This particular piece is, I think, is my first introduction to my real awareness of the lies you tell yourself for a very long time. My parents were separated when I was 11, yes, 11 years old. So it was easier for me to hold on to the happy memories. As a matter of fact, a lot of people that knew me in the university never knew my parents were separated because I talk about my home like it's still in the present. I talk about my home like, yeah, it's a thing. This is who we are. This is what we do. So I don't talk about my home like it's empty, it's broken, it's there is a lot missing. And I think it took years. I was already working. I had graduated from university. I was already working. And I think it was even after my mom passed that I started yearning for a home. I wanted a home. I visited my dad. I live in Abuja. My parents live in Lagos. I visited my dad, and it felt like I was a stranger in that space. The space felt like I was struggling to fit in. And that was when it dawned on me that I've held on to my childhood homing for so long that I didn't know how to fit into this new space my dad now stay in. I didn't know how to relate with my steps, you know. I tried to fit into their world, but it was just hard. It was just hard because I remember Saturday mornings when we wake up. Yeah, you listen to Sonny Ade. We'll listen to Sonny Ade on the record turntable, and we will dance and take tea and bread and just be all over the place, not doing anything. My dad smokes. He will tell us to bring our cup so he could pause. It takes Gulda and pearls of Gulda. And I think I held on to those memories for so long that I didn't know how to now fit into this new space where it's another world, it's another family, it's another home.
Mm.
And that's when it hit me that I didn't take time to mourn my father's moving away from the home. He's leaving us to go start another family. I didn't take my time to acknowledge that that world didn't exist anymore for a very long time, that I was just holding on to it for too long. So yeah, this was born out of that's experience for me.
Very profound, and it yeah, we certainly got one thing in common. We're both very deep thinkers. Like I myself lost my father when I was 12, and we were very close. And to date, I still, reflect on those, and I still learn from those 12 short years I had with him. Um, and then I also learned a lot from my mother, who was here till about 7 years ago. For 44 years, she literally, as a widow, dedicated her life to on the myself and my two older siblings, and then her grandchildren and so forth. And yeah, she gave another aspect to me. So although it was a very short time that we lived as that nuclear family, the rest, but doesn't deviate from the contributions from each of them.
Hmm.
So, do you want to take us on another piece?
Okay, yeah. Um, I'll share this
You write from the
from.
heart, my friend. That's what I love. That's what I really align with your work because you write from the heart. I cannot write stuff just for rhyme and because it sounds good. I too can only write from my heart. So I really align with your work.
Yes, and it's one of the things I do with teenagers in my story for a poem. I teach them to write from their hearts. I feel because a lot of us there's this thing within our Abuja Literary Society we call it poverty um porn. We write from a place of, oh, Africa is so poor, Nigeria is so poor, everybody is so damn poor that we can't live. Of course, there is poverty, but that's not the full extent of everyone's experience. So how is it that that's the only story we want to share for you to be able to win the awards abroad? So I tell young people, tell your own story. If you're able to tell your own story, it heals you. And not just heal you, it empowers you. So you become even free because there's something about sharing your story in whatever form, be it through painting and drawing and writing. I used to do a bit of cartoon when I was way younger. I don't know how I stopped to do that. um, I used to travel the world through cartoon drawing when I was way, way, way younger. Here's the thing about telling your story. It frees you. And there's something about freedom that I love. You can't tell me what I choose. You don't tell me who I am. I tell you who I am. So it empowers you to be in your best element. So yeah, it's really important to write from your own experience. It's freeing, and I love freedom. Oh God, I love freedom.
You you are a free-spirited soul, and an amazing lady. You really are. The world needs more people like you. You have your it's
Yeah.
knowing being strong and having power is one thing, but it's very critical that how we wield that power. How do we wield that gift that we're born with? We can use it for good or we can use it on a negative sense. And
Do you know, interestingly, I love that you keep hammering on this world because it's one of the reasons I used to get into trouble while I was in the bank because I would literally get so mad at authority. Of course, the corporate space can be very silly. Like, no, because you are in the position to do this does not mean you literally have to use sledgehammer to punish people. So my then branch head would be like, why are you always fighting people's fights? What's your problem? It's not your business to always try to fix things. And sometimes I'll make a mental note that that is true. It's not your problem. Not your monkey, not your circus. Why are you always trying to fix things? But sometimes it's just hard. It's just hard to to not try to intervene when it's possible, to not try to let people see that. See, you can literally I think there is just one person who I have seen had power and not abuse it. Like he would rather have a conversation with you. And I tell every other person, like, can't you see him? He actually is actually so powerful and he never abused this authority. What's wrong with you? You can learn to be like this too. So yeah, it's very, very important how you wield your power. It's really, really important that I don't know, maybe we are afraid that if we don't show that we are in a place of authority that people won't listen to us, but that's not true. In my experience, I feel strongly that people respect me more when I don't even show my colors, when I don't even let them know the extent of my level at work. When I go to certain places and maybe I'm transferred to a different branch and I get to do some things, some people don't even know who I am. And by the time they figure out, probably it's my last day spending my time there, and they will now be like, are you serious? All those while, yeah, that's what I think you should allow people be themselves and they don't have to tremble around you, yeah.
yes, I'm quite amused and laughing here to myself because we are two sides of the same coin, my friend. All my life, whenever I've got into trouble, it's fighting for other people, not my own battles.
Oh my God, so me. This is so me.
And my battles are always with hierarchy and
Oh
support.
my
A lot
God,
of
guilty as charged.
when or through my career, I probably could be. I mean, I'm doing all right in my career, but I could be probably much higher in my career if.
Oh my God.
But I've got to look in the mirror at night in my own eyes and feel no guilt. If I shut my mouth for an injustice, that night I don't sleep because I torment myself because I didn't speak out.
Same.
Yeah. As I said,
Same.
as you were speaking, I'm just amused and laughing because I'm looking in a mirror in a female at a feminine energy looking at myself in a mirror here. I really am, because if we took a lot of posts on social media on in the political agenda and whatever else, we see a lot of armchair experts. Oh, why don't they do this? Why don't they do this? I dare say it'll be a very small amount of us that would be able to hold power and retain our integrity,
True.
because it's very easy to be tempted and tainted by the corruption, by power, by to get drunk on that essence of power. But to remain grounded, very, very, very few people can do that. And that is what authenticity is. A lot of people, oh yes, I would do this, I would do that, until you're in a in that situation. When you're in that situation,
It becomes a different
your
ball game.
true authenticity comes, you know. Yeah. I think you and I together would be in one workplace or something would be a distraction. Man, I would sack us both. Anyway, I interrupted you. Please, you were going to read.
Oh, it's okay. Um, I'll take this one from page 49. Um, this this piece, you when you're searching for something, when you're trying to grasp at something so much that this was written when my mom passed, and I was wondering how I missed the the opportunity to have a last word with her, because I traveled from Abuja to Lagos while she was hospitalized. I was in the room by her bedside from morning till evening. As a matter of fact, from morning till like 1 a.m. So I went out of the room to lay by the sofa outside of her room. And within 2 hours afterwards, she passed on. And I was trying to, but I should have been there when she took her last breath. I should have been there to hear her. Maybe she wanted to say something. Maybe she needed to tell me something. I was grasping for just anything at all. I was trying to figure out if she even said something, and I probably didn't hear it while I was laying on that sofa there. Yeah, this is titled Mom's Last Word. Gathered at your bedside, waiting for your last word, with hope sinking fast. We sought your last word. We longed for you to say something. Yes, something. Anything, just anything. One tip as life guide, one last chance to just drink from your inspirational quotes. But we waited in vain. The guiding light never altered. The do's and don'ts to guide us through life weren't birthed. Instead, we had come. Our night became quiet. Stillness seized our hearts. Your face allured with serenity as your body gave way to a new life. But we hung on, hoping for the sun to rise with hearts heavy and wanting the cock to crow. We longed for the grey sky to be blue again. We wished that this memory will fade, that this memory, this dark memory will fade like the watch night's whistle in a distant land. Alas, the earth could take it no more. Our reality blurs our eyes with tears, leaving our hearts to ache and our voice to croak with sadness from our cries. You slept peacefully at last. We found your last word. Maybe you found it in the people that you raised as yours. Perhaps we will find it in the memories we wish to erase. Maybe we will find it in the pain we long not to remember. Herbert, it just might be in the laughter we shared, in the scolding and discipline you instilled in us. Maybe it's among the stars as they dance at night. Maybe we will find it in the kids you cater to like your own, or among the folks you counseled at each opportunity you get. Maybe we will find it in the service you offered our little community by being their voices when matters of family and health is raised. We just might find it in the woman you gave your shoulder to lean on when they hurt, or in the new song the chants when rejoicing. Mom, I'm searching for your last word, wondering if I missed it. Maybe I will hear you say it. Your ever willing and caring heart could be just your last word. In doing all that you've ever taught me to do, in accomplishing all my goals and dreams, I hope someday I'll find your last words. One.
You took me to Mother's Day 2017 when I said goodbye to my mother. It was very swift and yeah, so relatable, Adaeze, and the way you expressed it is just phenomenal. It in your words, it's yeah, 14th of May 2017. My mum went on Mother's Day, so I can never forget that the day of her passing. Every Mother's Day now is a double-edged sword for me. I celebrate her and I miss the love she gave us for 44 years after my father passed away as a widow. She never even went out for a coffee with another man. She was widowed
Wow.
until 84. Her life was the three kids. So Mother's Day is always a painful but joyous day where we celebrate everything that she was. And your poem and the emotion that you recited it with just draws the listener right into that passage in our own minds. Amazing.
Thank
I've
you.
I've got to get your book, and yeah, it's as I said, you write from the heart, and I cherish that. Yeah. Because I'm
Thank
myself,
you.
I'll never sacrifice a word for the sake of rhyme or for the sake of flow if it deviates from the emotion or the message I want to convey. You know,
Always.
yeah, so available on Amazon, folks, Barnes and Noble, and what was the other place you said?
Waterstone.
Waterstone. Yes. So,
Yeah.
folks, if you are not following our guest Adaeze today, please do check out even her narratives on Instagram. They really speak volumes. Stuff that we should all know. Stuff that we probably do know from back in time, but we've forgotten or take for granted.
True.
It's good reminders. And yeah, I can't wait. I've got to get you. Yeah, I'll be on Amazon picking this up. Um, have you got another book in the making or plans for another book?
Yes, I have another one on the making. Yeah, like I mentioned last time, I'm writing from a place of joy.
Yeah.
I'm being deliberate in recording my joy. I I strongly believe that um, there is an other side to us where we can be complete, we can be whole, we can be full. I think that too came from a place of losing my mom. I feel strongly that after my dad and her broke up, she didn't allow herself being over religious, being my mom and Jesus Christ are best friends. As a matter of fact, I tell people that when people tell me, Ada, you don't like to go to church. And I'm like, my mother has done all of that for the next 50 generations to come. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. My mother didn't allow herself to, where it's so like, oh, the Bible says that the husband of my youth is going to come back to me. The Bible says this, the Bible says that she and Jesus Christ, oh, Jesus. And that was all a lie. So much that she forgot how to live for herself. She forgot to take care of her business. Her business, she gave less attention to her business and they crashed. She gave less attention to herself. Her health deteriorated. She gave less attention to her children. Her children suffered from depression. She gave less attention to other aspects of her that could make her complete because she dwelt so much on that pain
Mm,
for
mm,
the rest of her life. The remaining of her existence was based on the disappointment of the fact that my father was not coming back. He's not coming back. My eldest brother and me will literally tell her, "This man has moved on. It's time for you to move on." And that's what she'll tell us not to utter negative words. It's prohibited for us to say that in this home. We can't
mm,
say that in this home.
mm,
That is not God's promise for her.
mm.
So yeah, I decided that it is important for me to write from a place of joy too, because there are beautiful things happening every day. There are a lot of, like when I left the bank, I left because I knew it was time for me to move on to do other things. I
Mm,
knew it was time for me. I knew I wanted to do what's crazy. I wanted to do banking for just 5 years. I ended up spending 17 years in a bank.
mm,
And I knew it was time for me to actually go out there and build because I love to build. I'm a builder. They moved me to different branches to go build people, but I needed to build within my space without the external pressures of this is how it has to be done. I wanted it to be done according to my vision and my dreams. Yeah. And in living, I created something beautiful for myself. I started first with interior designs. I still do interior design um, because I love being tactile. I love putting things. I love space planning. I love just arranging things in different places. And in living, I found out that my fear, the fear that made me stay from wanting to do banking for 5 years to ending up for there for 17 years, I found out that I was as powerful as I've always thought myself to be. That fear had nothing on me. So that for me was victory. It was success. That for me was a win. So I needed to be able to sell my happiness, share my joy, share my possibilities, and not just when I feel pain or heartbroken and hurt. No, there are beautiful things happening, beautiful things that I make times cra- crazy money that I would before you have to wait for salary. Now I don't have to wait for salary. I design for my week what I think I want to do with myself and I go out there and make it happen. And it's happening. So that's beautiful. Those are the things I want people to know that there is a possibility for you beyond the pain, beyond the heartbreak, beyond the hurts, beyond the depression. You can find the light at the end of the tunnel. Hang on to the hope and just keep pushing towards the light. Yeah.
You you are an inspiration. You really are. There is an inexhaustible amount of feathers in your cap, but so many of us have inherent talents and strengths, but we don't do anything with it. I am here listening to you, feeling really guilty in myself because And I thought, I actually, there's not 24 hours in a day is not enough for me the way I live my life. But when I listen to you, you make me feel like there's so much more I can do. And I honestly, my son lives 20 minutes down the road. Sometimes I don't see him for 6, 8 weeks. I don't catch up to friends or family when I like because I'm just so busy. I like after this, I'm going to drive for 40 minutes away to go and support somebody who's been featured, a good friend who's been featured at a live event. Then I'm going to come home, quickly have a shower, and then I'm going to the theatre to watch the live play of Beetlejuice. And I just seem to be so, from the time I wake up till I go to bed, but you make me feel like there's so much more I can do. You know, you're so organized and you're so go, go, go. That's amazing. You are an
You'll be
inspiration.
shocked that I'm not so go, go, go. I learned how to step back too. I I started practicing that 2 years ago. I noticed that it's very easy for people to dump responsibility. I volunteer a lot. I love to join groups and volunteer. If you say, hey, we are going for school awareness for HIV, for cancer, for whatever. Oh, count me in. I love to volunteer a lot because it's not a culture within Nigeria.
Mm,
Nigerians love to be paid for their time, and I don't blame them. People, the disparity between the rich and the poor is very very wide, so they are trying to survive. So I
mm,
don't blame them. I like to show young people that you can actually give of yourself without expecting financial reward.
mm.
Even though it's good to always expect financial reward for certain responsibility, but things like awareness, social awareness, please give your time.
Mm.
I literally just volunteered my time, and I noticed that once I join a group and I say, "Oh, I'm here, use me," it becomes, oh, I become their media director, I become their program manager, I become this, I become that, and I'm like, wait, no, pause, one thing at a time. I would love to be this for you, not this. So give me one. If you want me to raise fund, give me the responsibility to raise fund. If you want me to organize your social media, give me the response. Not tell me do this, do this. You will now create five people committee. Then you now put me in charge of each committee. No, I don't want to be everywhere. I want to be. So yeah, I had to learn how to not be everywhere. And I noticed that some people, even when you tell them, I just want to be, okay, you're head of media. Okay, you're head of this or that. Somehow they stylishly still drop other responsibilities on me. So I had to learn to say no. I had to learn to say, oh, sorry, my plate is full. I can't take on extras. So yes, you'll be shocked at how much I am not everywhere. And there are periods when I tell myself for the next 1 month, I am not available. And I tell everybody, sorry, you cannot require my time for the next 1 month. I'm not available because I really need to go back into myself because you can't pour from an empty space. If you keep giving, you get empty. So you need to go replenish your strength, get better, just rest. Like just rest. You know what's interesting about my personality? As much as I am this person who wants to be available for people, I'm an introvert. A lot of people don't know that. That when I say I can be in my home and not step out of my door for a full 2 weeks, like 2 weeks. Sometimes when I step out and my neighbors or my landlords, I mean, they'll tell me, "Have you been around? Did you travel?" No, I did not travel. I'm home, right here. I didn't step out because I I want to serve does not mean that I should lose my essence. I should lose who I am. So you need to be deliberate in making sure that you stay grounded in your own person. Yeah.
They say that every soul has a twin somewhere in part. Every person has a twin in another part of the world, and I think I have just spoken to mine. There are days I can't even find time. My sister lives 15 minutes up the road. I think it's been 3 months since I visited her. Right. 15 minutes, very quick, very short. It's nothing for, in Australia, we travel long distances. We're a big continent. But 15 minutes, I can't find the time. But there are times for the whole week I have not ventured out my front door to even go and check my mail where I have not seen another human being. I have been,
Interesting.
I love my music, and my relaxation is have my room in darkness and just drift off into my music. And
Same
then
here.
yeah, uh,
Same here.
and I turn my phone off. Um,
Oh no, I don't turn my phone off. I think I need to learn how to detach from my phone.
turn my phone off, have the room in darkness, and just listen to music. 1, 2 hours, 3 hours, and I feel like I've slept for 8 or 10 hours. I feel so refreshed. But there are times where all week I have not seen another human being.
This is so me.
And,
So me.
and yet I'm a very sociable person and I'm out there with, but that time, yeah. My goodness, I'm just, Ragged actually introduced me to your work, and I got to thank him. I got to buy him a drink whenever I see him. Um, uh, you're an amazing lady, and your work is second to none. But your energy and what you do is, my goodness, it makes, I feel, I thought I was doing a lot and feeling inadequate, but I feel inadequate now after hearing you, I tell you.
Oh no, I admire your work. You're doing a wholesome job here too. You're doing a wholesome job.
So now, because of since IG started doing uh, it in higher resolution, these lives, as you know, I create a YouTube and a podcast of these shows, and I'm happy to share the video, download the video, and share it with you as well, so that you can dissect it and use it for edit it and use it for whatever you need as well. And I send you those links. But so for that, once IG started sharing it in a higher res, the archive to download the video seems to clip about the 1 hour, 2 hour mark, about the 1 hour 50, 55 minutes. So I try to keep the show
Oh,
at 45 so that I can get one download of a video. We've been going for an hour and 22 minutes. So if you're up for it, I think we need to on my next available spot, I would love to do a second episode because there's so much of you that we haven't even touched. In these next 25 or so minutes that we've got, I would love to talk about Mitera's pot and where that is, because, and also the accessibility, because I'm very adventurous in my culinary
you'll
tastes.
say, oh, awesome. Interesting. Awesome.
So
Mitera Sports. The story behind Mitera Sports. If I tell you it started from home, believe me, it started from home. My mom also, aside having a restaurant, she also was like a community nurse. As Catholics, there's something we call the basic Christian community. So she was trained on how to handle small ailments like say you have fever, you have malaria, little ailments that doesn't require you to go to the hospital, then give first aid. And of course, because she was the leader, the basic Christian community leader, it means everybody comes to her for all their problems. I mean, you need to see her shop. People come to buy food, and then there is this place where people come to talk about their problems. And there's something she does that I found then it didn't make any sense. But now, as of course, as you grow up, a lot of things starts making sense. She will ask you first, have you eaten? No, you need to eat first. As in, you know what's crazy? Within our social media balance in Nigerian space, when you're complaining about Nigeria, like, oh, Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is this, your family is that, you're very broke, this. Somebody, there's this balance will say, You don't chop, chop first, as in eat first. Have you eating? That's what it means. You don't chop, chop first, as in have you eating? Eat first. It's interesting to know that those are things my mom actually used to do when people come to her for problems. She will serve you food, eat first. And a lot of times, maybe their problem is just eating. They just need to eat. As in, you're complaining about your husband. He's not bringing home the check to take care of you as a wife, newly married wife, and he comes home drunk all of the time. Okay, no problem. We can't fix your husband from afar, but we can help you by feeding you first. So she just feeds you. And of course, pregnant women tells you what to eat, what not to eat, things like that. Oh, you
Mm.
have hypertension, there are certain things that are not good for your health. You know, intake. She believes your food is your medicine.
Mm.
Even though it was always a noise then, she will make us at the end of the month, she will make us take what we call in Nigerian language, it's called agbo. It's the herbal medicine. It's in liquid form. It's so bitter, some are tasteless, some are just sour, whatever, to always cleanse the system. Those things were really, really important to her. Then of course, traveling to the village. I say this a lot because when you're younger, you do a lot of things and not realize the reasons for why those things happen. Is as you get older that they make sense. My grandmother doesn't cook with your regular synthetic seasoning. She goes to the back of the compound and just pluck all the herbs and mix them, crush. The ones that we need to pound, we pound. The ones we need to grind, we grind. And it's always the best meal, different from what you have in the city where we are always using all the, all these artificial seasonings and all that. So
Yep.
as I grew older, I was always very sickly, like really, really very sickly. I was always very, very sickly. But when I started getting back to eating, like my mother would ask me to eat, like the proper way she would always tell me to eat, my health improved. I stopped falling ill as often as it used to be before. I stopped going to the hospital regularly. I was always literally in the hospital almost every 1 to 2 months. It was really, really, really bad. So it's one of the reasons I have to have my younger siblings stay with me is because of my health reason, because it could happen at any time of the night, at any time of the day. It could just happen, and I have to just be in the hospital. But when
Mm.
I started eating properly, like my mother would, the way she would, it was noise making, it was disturbance, it was, oh, can you let me be? But now those things make perfect sense. So yes, I actually went back to curating the things I know my mother would actually make in creating our seasonings
Mm.
without using the everyday artificial spices, the everyday preservatives. No, let's go back to our roots. They are rich, they are healthy, they are nourishing, and of course, what's the best way to stay healthy without breaking the bank is by eating right. Yeah. So Mitera, my love for Mitera sport is that I'm doing exactly I'm doing exactly what my mother used to do. I am my mother's child right now. I am literally my mother's child. I am that girl now who is now screaming, you need to eat right, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, oh God, I can literally hear my mother's noise. I'm sure she's shaking her head like, oh, look at you now.
Uh, uh, oh, so I tell you what, I could spend days and days talking to you and not run out of conversation, days, because so I was born in Sri Lanka. And then my father died at 12, and then at 13, I migrated to Australia. Now, I remember back home, my mum every day cooking all the spices, she'd have it on the stone or the more big
Yeah.
vessel, pounding the flour. She would soak the rice and pound the flour, and not bought from the rice flour. And all the
Mm.
would go in there, generally from trees in the garden or freshly bought, and grind it away into paste on this mortar and pestle or this grinding stone, and
Mm-hmm.
to help her. And when we were sick, she used to give us all these damn bitter, which is native to Sri Lanka, these bitter damn medications to drink. If we stepped on a nail so as you don't get tetanus, we used to have this stuff called Venivalgato that we used to have to drink. She had to make two doses because with me, the first dose came straight out, and then the second one came in.
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe if I tell you now, I have this stuff, a lot of those herbs and spices that are the ingredients that she used to make us drink, or even coriander, the seeds, the boil. She used to make
Yeah,
tea out of that when we were sick. Would you believe that every morning I have a cup of this sort of,
your ritual.
and I'm not even sick, right? I have a cup of this stuff, and I actually love it, right? And when I'm sick, I just pump. Even my son now, he's never, had grew up on this stuff. When he's sick, he just
You
pumps in
see,
this stuff. So
mothers always know.
there you go. So yeah, as you said, I'm sure my mother's sitting there laughing there now, saying, "Yeah, you thought you knew it all, and now you're just yeah." There you go. So tell us about this Mitera spot these spices. Where is it available, and can somebody like me out here buy some of these, or where would I learn about? Uh, Obviously, different geographical parts has different natural herbs and things that are.
Mm.
If I'm not familiar with um, natural spices in Nigeria, how would I learn from about this, and how would I go about getting it?
Oh, okay. Mitera Spot is only available within the Nigerian space for now. We are looking at actually making it available worldwide. We have partners that are trying to develop an app and get our website to be able to accept order. We're still working on that aspect of the company. Um, for the herbs. Here's the thing. Every circle, every country actually have, natural ingredients that actually heal them.
Mm,
But we don't pay attention because our life is built on fast food, fast eating, the now meal. So we don't give attention to simple things like even your lemongrass,
mm,
something as simple as lemongrass cleanses you every day. Like you can literally stay healthy all year by simply washing off your lemongrass, soaking it in hot water and drinking in the morning. Then your lime and lemon, squeeze it, take the water every day, and simple rituals like this keep you insanely healthy, and people don't know this. Like insanely healthy. But because people want to sell fast. So there's always a mixture of want to make big gains, big profits. I think there's a world out there that our mind has been corrupted to think that's the only way and the best way we can become super wealthy. But there are ethical ways to become wealthy without nature, without messing up nature, without reducing the essence of what God has given to us naturally into just something to send out for people to take without
mm,
respect and regard for human
mm,
life. So just look around you. There are all these simple herbs. Do your hibiscus flower. I don't know if it's something that is available within
yeah.
Australia. Hibiscus flower, soak it in hot water, take it. It's rich, it's beautiful, it purifies the system. Like it's purifies the system. And one of the good things about it actually keeps your brain clear. If you're a student and you need to be able to remember things, just take it while you're studying. It actually keeps your brain, clear for you to be able to remember things and retain your knowledge. So much that nature does for us that we've just forgotten how to pay attention to these things. We've forgotten how to make nature heal us.
Mhm.
If we go back to them, we become better people, we become healthier people. So just simple things like that, and you are good.
Mhm.
Like you are fine. Yeah.
I do a very a lot, live a well drink and eat a lot of natural stuff like that. Quite often I just boil just good sticks of cinnamon with ginger and fresh lemons from my tree.
That's
Boil
awesome
that,
too.
and I've got a flask, and I drink that during the day. I have it hot or cold. That's what I do.
Awesome.
Touch wood, I think it'll probably be 15, 20 years since I've ever last digested any antibiotic.
You see?
Yeah.
You see? Nature takes care of you. Nature takes care of you. I wish a whole lot of people can go back to paying attention. And you know what's even interesting is we talk about plastic being dangerous to the environment and to the humans and all that. Before colonization, we eat from the leaf and we were fine. We eat from the wood and the calabash and we were
Yeah.
fine. Until somebody came and say, "Oh, it's a primitive way of eating. It's not healthy. You're not. You should." The classic way of eating is to eat with your plastic, right? And now we realize that it's not healthy for us. Those things are actually damaging our systems and our environment. So go back to nature.
Yeah. You
Just
just
go back to nature.
calabash. You just mentioned calabash. That's one of my favorite African restaurants here that I frequent whenever I feel like some African. It's actually called calabash. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I like that.
But
Yeah.
matter of fact, in my childhood, some of the recipes, it was actually cooked, wrapped in a banana leaf, and the flavors of all that, and you actually unwrap that and you actually eat off the
It's
banana.
richer.
Yep.
Way richer.
Yep.
Way richer. As a matter of fact, there is something that we do when we go to parties. Some people would make we call it moi moi. I don't like to use the English word because I don't know why we keep creating an English alternative. Is there a Nigerian alternative to pizza? There is no Nigerian alternative to pizza, so we can call it what it is. It is made from beans, blended beans, and boiled with all sorts of spices. Over time, because of colonization, we started tying them in a polyethylene nylon bag. But when we started returning back to our roots, people crave more for the ones in the leaf, and it's now getting expensive. And I try to encourage vendors that it's not fair that we're trying to get people to eat right. We're trying to let people go back to natural way of doing things, and you're making them choose between what's cheaper. Go to the ones that is tied in the plastic bag, or go to the one that is tied in the leaf.
Mm.
If you're coming to any event I'm hosting and you're pricing me higher simply because people are choosing the natural way, I wouldn't give your attention. I will look for an alternative because I think it's not fair. Because
Yeah.
if we are trying to get people to go back to doing things right, we should encourage them by even making it cheaper than the
Yeah.
alternative in the market. Because that's way people are not thinking of their pocket first before they eat healthy. They are thinking of their health first before they, choose what is right. So yeah, now you go to parties and you see lots of leaves within the serving area, and it's like, oh, you're a big man, you're super rich, you're super wealthy simply because you're eating from the leaf now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, did we stop being savage? I
Yeah.
thought this was supposed to be for primitive people. So it's interesting that a lot of people are actually getting the message behind going back to your roots and letting nature take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really fortunate because, well, since I split up 8 years ago, 9 years ago, um, when I moved out, my son moved in with me, and then 4 years ago he bought his own place and moved out. So I live by myself. So I can eat, drink, whatever I feel like. I don't need to worry about what somebody else in the house can eat. I just live by myself and I enjoy the peace. Yeah. So I'm blessed that I can eat whatever I like, drink whatever I like, yeah, have in my pantry whatever I like. So I'm blessed. I'm pretty lucky.
Awesome. Awesome. And that's what it should be.
Yeah. So, well, I've got a friend that I've promised for the last 2 years that I would come to Kenya and visit Kenya and be shown around there and look at it. Now you've just given me inspiration to actually not just listen to King Sunny Ade's music, but actually visit Nigeria. You've given me inspiration to actually visit there. Maybe I should plan a long trip and do Kenya and then fly over to Nigeria and just do.
That'll be fun. That'll be super fun for you. You would enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah,
You will.
yeah. It is. We've probably got about another 5 minutes or so, 5, 10 minutes or so. To say it's been a pleasure. I have so much enjoyed this because I felt like I was
Yeah.
hearing about me from somebody else's words because, as I said, like to say that you're the second side of a coin to me, it's an understatement. Keep listening to what you're saying there, even as you said, how you get into trouble even in your work or something, always fighting other
I'm
people.
not surprised though.
That's me, that's been me.
I'm not surprised. There's this photo of yours. I think you went to Tokyo. Was it Tokyo, your last vacation?
Vietnam, Vietnam.
Oh, Vietnam. There was this photo of yours where you posted like a night live. You were standing on the street with street lights and all that. I'm like, when I saw the photo in my head, I'm like, this is so me, like what I would do
Yeah.
if I were in a setting like that. I literally have a photo similar to that when I traveled to Padova in Italy. So in my head, I'm actually not surprised to hear you say this. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually flew to Vietnam on Christmas Day. I had Christmas Eve with my son and my family, and they were talking about, oh, what are you doing on the 26th and 27th? I said, I'm flying to Vietnam tomorrow. I decided at the last minute and just took off and went and spent Christmas, New Year, all that just in Vietnam. So, yeah,
Like that.
just
That's
very,
so me. That's so much like what I would normally do too.
yeah. So,
Just get
hey,
spontaneous. I get missing.
um, I will. I would like to invite you to continue this in another episode because I still want to talk about all the curation work, and I really want to touch on the work that you did with teenagers in that teen talk in the Abuja Literary Society. I'd really like to. I think that's another whole discussion on its own. So I don't think we're going to fit it in this episode. I would love to. I'll let you know my next. Actually, I've got. I don't want to leave it too long because I really want to really continue this story on because there's so much to you, my friend. The world needs to know. People, I know there's the world who need to hear your words to inspire them to rise above their challenges in their life and to do more with their life. I have got the 5th of September, I've got the 19th of September, I've got the 17th of October. Think about those days, and if you are up for it, I would love to have a part two of featuring you.
September is in 2 months' time,
Yeah.
5th of
Yep.
September.
Yeah.
That works. That's fine.
Fifth.
That works. Just 1 month before my holiday. Yeah.
All right. Let's lock that in. 5th of September.
Awesome.
Do you want to share a closing poem, and we can.
Okay. Yes. I would like to share um page 55. This is titled I Am Blossoming. I'm shedding old thoughts that chain me, leaving me damp and lonely, making my nights dark and dreary. I am weaving instead new branches, sowing riches, twining endlessly into my body. My breath is fresh, fancy, and flowery, like a sweet smelling scent of plush bouquet. I am coming into my morning like a thriving palm tree, shedding her withered haze after her night slumber. I am sprouting joy. Joy so bountiful the birds chirp along, so loud the sky shines sunny, awaking the forest habitats to a bubbly dance. I am healing, healing like the bark of an iroko tree grazed by the harvester's knife. Yes, rebirthing her soul to well up power to refill and restore life, cracking open miracles of new and fresh dreams. Dreams so possible the universe chosen. I am rising, rising into a new dawn like a newborn blossoming and leaping into herself. I am blooming, blooming into me.
Such a perfect closing poem, so uplifting. It really is beautiful. Your writing is. I don't think I've read any of your work that, or any of your narratives, even or poetry that I have not enjoyed, that I don't align with. And as I've mentioned on the show each week, that one of the reason that I select guests, losing my father at a young age, I kept him and my mother at a distance for fear of loss. So, like that, I see a lot of people in different corners of the world who probably got nobody to relate to in their darkest hours. And sometimes, if they watch this sort of show and
Good.
hear the words that we either through your poetry, through my featured guest poetry, or through our discussions, sometimes that could be that what they needed to hear to give them that um,
True.
direction that could change their lives, right? That could save them from a fatal bad mistake or bad decision. It could save their life, could uplift their path. So this is why I do this show. And uh, my friend, you are inspiration. I am
Thank
a very active
you.
person that does a lot, and I feel like I could do so much more after talking to you. So, to somebody out there who's in a really dark place or really lost, you are a shining light. Sometimes we don't
Thank
have
you.
to do anything to shining light, right? Sometimes a signpost does nothing, just stands there, gives us direction, and you are a shining light in that. Um,
Thank you.
am I getting an echo there?
Oh, I can hear you.
I was getting an echo of another male voice. Somebody's saying something.
Oh, my brother is praying.
Ah,
It's
ah,
midnight.
okay, right. There's been thank you to everybody in the room. Adaeze, you are an amazing person, and I'm sure people will watch this and will appreciate everything. Your words and this whole feature will reach the right people that it needs to reach. I'm certain of that. And thank you to everybody. Tom, you were in the room. Jim,
Thank you. Thank you.
and also I think must be a friend of yours, Prince Gretchy. Uh, one of your
Yeah.
He's been in the whole show there. Thank you, Prince Gretchy. Thank you very much for your support of the show and being here through the whole entire show. Adaeze, thank you for the agreeing to do this
Thank you. Thank
ungodly
you so much for
show.
having me.
Yeah.
I really had fun. I really, really had so much fun. Yeah.
I'm so glad because like you have filled my heart with so much joy to know that there are other beautiful people out there that give off themselves for others. That is, my goodness, that's better than if somebody else came and just gave me $1 million right now. To know that there is a soul like you out there is better reward than that $1 million that somebody could come and give me right now.
Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you. Your space beyond just showcasing artists, I like that you actually let artists be themselves. I like that you don't just I think a lot of times what interviewers do is they want it to go a certain way and they rigidly push it that way. I love that you allow people just let it flow. I think that's the beauty of art. Don't be so strict about what art should be. Let it flow, let it come in its form, in its beauty, in its glory. Let it be dark, let it be joyous, let it be whatever it is. And I really love that about your space. Each time I come to your space and I listen to different artists, there is always something beautiful about them. There's always something different about them. I think the last artist, I'm trying to remember her name, the poet from Canada.
Oh,
I
Michelle.
Yes, her her form of poetry was really beautiful, like really, really beautiful. I could feel her essence and the work she does. It's I think there's something about poets and being empath too. You get locked up in people's experience
Yeah,
that you feel their pain when they are hurting. You're happy with them when they are happy.
yeah,
Sometimes my uncle's wife will be like, and if you don't come for family events, it's not always fun because you amplify it beyond whatever it is. You amplify. So when people are sad, they amplify their pain.
yeah,
And sometimes I don't want to even see pain because I literally feel it in my heart. Like my heart starts aching.
yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoy your space, your ability to just let people be. It's a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing.
I am just the vessel. You are the drink, right? I'm just the glass. That's all. I just facilitate something and let whatever flavor that drink is, I let it be. I want
Thank you.
my
Thank
featured
you.
show off themselves what they want, not what I want them to show. But I'm like that in friendships. I'm like that in business relationships. I am anybody I meet a stranger. I don't want them to be who I want them to be. I want them to be who they are.
That's
Adaeze,
an awesome one.
thank you, my friends. Stay blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next show. But we'll be in touch. I will share you the links and all once I've created the YouTube and the Spotify and so forth. Heartfelt thanks, my friend. Stay blessed, stay safe, and
Merci beaucoup.
continue being you. God bless.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.